Have you ever wondered what stops the government from trying to convict someone over and over for the same crime until they get the result they want? It's a pretty scary thought, right? Well, thankfully, there's a powerful legal principle designed to prevent exactly that. It's called double jeopardy, and today we're going to break down exactly how this constitutional shield works.
I mean, just think about it in your own life. Getting punished for the very same mistake again and again, it just feels deeply unfair. And that basic human sense of fairness, that's really the heart of the legal concept we're digging into today.
So the official term is double jeopardy, and you should really think of it as a constitutional shield. It's a fundamental right that stops the state from getting, a second or third bite at the apple when it comes to prosecuting you for a crime.
And here it is, the actual text written right into the Indian Constitution in Article 20, Clause 2. The wording is super important and very specific. Notice it says, prosecuted and punished for the same offense more than once. That little word "and" is absolutely crucial, as we're about to see. This single sentence is the bedrock of the whole idea.
Okay, so when can you actually use this shield? Well, it's not automatic. Before you can claim this protection, the law has a very specific 3-point checklist, and every single point has to be met.
Let's run through that checklist. First, there has to have been a previous prosecution. We're not talking about just an investigation. A formal case had to be brought against the person. Second, that trial needed to happen in a competent court, a court that actually had the legal authority to hear the case. And third, and this is the real kicker, the trial had to end with a final punishment. You need all three of those for the shield to work.
So let's trace the flow to see how this plays out in real life. It all starts right here, with that first trial. And again, this has to be a proper, formal trial in a court with the right jurisdiction, not just some preliminary hearing.
Now, that trial has to reach a very specific endpoint. It's not enough to just be tried. It has to result in both a conviction, meaning a guilty verdict, and a punishment being officially handed down. This is so important. If you are found not guilty or acquitted, other rules protect you. But this specific shield in Article 22 is triggered only by that combination of conviction and punishment.
And here's the payoff. Once you've been through that whole process, prosecuted, convicted, and punished, that's it. The state's power to come after you for that specific crime is done. The shield is up, and it blocks them from dragging you through that same ordeal for the very same offense.
But, this shield isn't made of vibranium. It's not invincible. Just like any rule in law, it has limits and exceptions. So it's just as important to understand when this shield doesn't work.
This comparison makes it super clear. On the left, you've got what's protected. A formal prosecution in a court that leads to a final punishment for one specific offense. But look at the right side. A disciplinary hearing at your job? That's not a court of law, so double jeopardy doesn't apply. What about an appeal? Well, that's considered part of the same case, not a new one. And obviously, if you're being tried for a totally different crime, the shield from the first one isn't going to help you.
So we've covered the what and the how, but let's talk about the why. Why is this right considered so fundamental? I mean, this goes way beyond just being a legal technicality. It's really about the balance of power between a massive state and a single individual.
And this idea, which has been discussed in major cases, really gets to the heart of it. If this rule didn't exist, the state, with all its time and money, could just keep prosecuting someone over and over until they finally wore them down or got a conviction. This right ensures there's an endpoint. It prevents state-sponsored harassment and makes sure that a court's judgment is final.
All right, let's wrap this up with a quick summary. If you remember nothing else, remember these three things. 1. Double jeopardy stops second prosecution and punishment for the very same crime. 2. For it to apply, you need that complete trifecta: an earlier trial, a conviction, and a punishment. And 3. It won't stop things like work-related inquiries, appeals, or, of course, trials for different crimes.
So I'll leave you with this final thought. This right isn't just about courtrooms and procedures. It's about a fundamental question. How do we balance the state's need to enforce the law with an individual's right to be free from constant legal threat? Double jeopardy is one of the most important lines we draw in the sand to maintain that fragile but absolutely critical balance.